So maybe we can talk real quick about the veil of forgetfulness. Um, for those who don't remember, because we did talk about that when we were going through chapter one.
Yeah, we
Um,
did. But it's good to remember a lot of people wonder why they don't know anything about the other realms. And so, therefore, it doesn't exist. It's just so far out from them. And the reason is of the veil of forgetfulness. And Grandma used to say that, when you have the veil of forgetfulness pulled down over you, uh, then you wouldn't know anything about the other side. You wouldn't be able to see spirits or hear things or be sensitive, but that it doesn't mean that that's bad. It's just that this is the lifetime that you chose not to be aware of anything.
oh,
Yeah.
interesting. I never thought about it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, this is your lifetime to see if you could still seek the higher source even though you don't know it really exists. Whereas if the veil is lifted, then you already know it exists. And so why wouldn't someone seek it all the time? But for
Right.
someone who has it pulled down all the way, they've chosen a lifetime of um, testing themselves. Will
Mhm.
they still seek it even with the veil all the way down, where they absolutely do not get any? They don't talk to stones, they don't talk to trees, they don't talk to animals. They're not one with nature. Will they still seek the higher source? Will they still seek that joy? And so they've come into this world to test themselves. And before they come in there saying, "Oh yeah, I'll be fine." How could I possibly not want to seek the joy? You know, I'll
Right.
be fine. But once they get here, with that veil down, they forgot that they even agreed to that. And in
It
in the
is.
story, I talk about the people who have their life force cut, the
Yeah.
connection that they have to the higher source. And that is where so a person has their veil down and they don't want to if they do not want to ever even consider connecting to the source, and
Hmm.
something or someone comes along and says, "Oh, let me cut your cord to the source," you know, not to other people. I'm not talking about horizontal. I'm talking about that vertical one.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, okay. Well, they can give the permission, and the next thing you know, they are they're in that pit. And even
Okay.
though they're awake and they're doing things, they're in this place of quiet quitting. And so
Hmm.
they're no longer just living and enjoying the world. Now they're just like, oh, there's nothing to this world.
Yeah. They're
Why am
just
I
suffering
here?
through it.
Yes, suffering through it. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that is so
Exactly.
interesting.
So
Okay.
that's a deeper
Yeah.
level. That's a deeper, and I cover that even more in book 3. But
Hmm.
yeah, I try to
Yeah.
introduce all these things a little bit at a time with as
Yes.
it moves through.
Right. Yes. And that is something that I do appreciate about your storytelling and the way that you do it is it is easy to understand and to process. So yeah, I appreciate that you do it that way. Okay, so kind of on the same lines on pages 13 and pages 14, um, Onagar says a particular world's inhabitants are deteriorating from the lack of life force. They found temporary refuge, but the place eventually will not support them. Their first, their thirst for anyone's life force is too destructive and will soon spread like a disease.
Yeah.
And then on 14, she says, since they no longer get life force from the supreme source, they will take it from others, and any world they touch will suffer. Um, yeah, can you talk more just about those concepts? Because I when I read it, I felt like, oh, I've met those people, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
maybe I haven't, I don't know, but it kind of like there are people that like the energy vampires or and maybe that's not even what this means, but the
No, that
people who
is
just
what it is.
oh, okay, yeah, that just suck it all out of you.
Right.
But yeah, if is that okay if we
Yeah, that's
um
exactly what it is the I'm talking about the energy vampires. And it's because they're not getting it from the source. And now you can call source whatever you want. Some people call it God, higher power, whatever. But everybody knows when you're connected to that, So it's a knowing thing.
Yep.
And when it's for some people who are, even though they're not disconnected from it, they choose not to connect to it and they choose to take somebody else's. So they go
Mhm.
horizontal and they'll take the
Yes.
life force out of somebody else. And you always know when you're by somebody or near somebody who is like that because you're drained afterwards,
Yes. Yeah.
totally drained. And it's
Yep.
like, oh my God, you have to, like me, I will go. I have to be by myself for a little while and reconnect. And I pull in the life force
Yeah.
and yeah. So,
Yes.
and people don't know that they're doing that sometimes. It's
Hmm.
worked for them in the past, and so they do it. And men and women will do it. Women will do it sometimes through how they look and how they dress, and they will they will use their feminine wiles, kind of like that,
Oh.
sometimes. And that is what they use to uh, do a horizontal sucking of
Mhm.
energies. And men
Yep.
will also do that. Um,
Hmm.
and so uh, that's one way that people do it, rather than getting all their joy and energy
Hmm.
from above. They
Yeah.
and from it going down into the earth, because the earth mother will send it up to you. It's just wonderful when it's going the
Yeah.
right way.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Yeah, I know I will come home sometimes after being, in groups and I physically hurt. Like it feels like someone beat me up. And that's when I was reading that, I thought I wondered if that was part of, why I would come home and just feel horrible.